Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw. I'm here aboard Crystal Serenity, the newly refurbished ship, the first refurbished ship in the new Crystal Cruises. And I'm here with the CEO of not only Crystal Cruises, but A&K Travel Group, Christina Levis. I said that right?
Correct, Christina Levis.
Levis, yes. Christina Levis. And Christina is now overseeing both A&K and Crystal Cruises. And first, we're going to talk a little bit about this new ship, but we're going to talk about some big news that they just announced just a few hours ago while we were on board, and you're going to find out about that and more on Insider Travel Report. Now, Christina, first of all, great to meet you here. It has been a fabulous event. We went and had a wonderful celebration at the Castle of Naples, where we had opera singers, and you spoke, and Manfredi Lefebvre spoke. And actually, we should mention that we are in Di Ovidio Ristorante Osteria, which is the new Italian restaurant on board, which is, I think it's named after him, right?
Yes, it's named after his family, Osteria d'Ovidio.
Absolutely, and he has a long history with Naples, as he explained last night at the celebration. Now, let's talk first of all about the big news, because you made a big announcement today, and that really, I was going to ask you, what's the future for Crystal Cruises? Well, you just told me. So what is that announcement now?
Well, Crystal wants to build 4 new ships by the end of 2029, 2 expedition and 2 classic ships. The expedition ships will have a size of approximately 220 passengers, and the classic ship will have approximately 650 passengers. We are working closely with our lenders, with export credit agencies in Europe, and with 2 shipbuilding companies.
So you're pretty far advanced on this, and you said that you hope to get started in the second quarter of next year, right?
Yes, we are pretty far advanced, in particular with the expedition ship. The classic ship we have just recently started, but the team, as I mentioned this morning, they were literally working around the clock, spending half of their time in the refurbishment and half of their time on the new build.
But that's exciting now. I think it's an exciting period for you as Crystal. I was going to ask, as I said, what's the growth? Where's the strategy? You come to the market with 2 beautiful refurbished ships, but what's the future hold? And let's talk about that beautifully refurbished ship as we're on it. This is actually a brand new restaurant and newly designed as well. But why? And I guess my first question is why? And you mentioned this a little bit. Why did you decide to buy Crystal Cruises in particular? What was the attraction for you and for Manfredi, actually?
Well, it's a bit different for me than for Manfredi. So my Crystal dream, as I mentioned last night at the event at the Maschio Angioino, started in 2013 when I inspected Crystal Serenity for the first time in Monaco. And when I step on board, the first impression that I had is that this ship had and still has a soul. Which is what sets her apart from any other ship that I have inspected throughout my career. Back then, I experienced the product because I was able to stay on board the full day. And
this is back when you were working for that other line, Silversea, right?
For that other line that, as I said last night, and I will continue to repeat, has a very special place in my heart. So that. The experience was just great. The food, the crew, and I remember telling my team, let's look at Crystal, and because they have such an incredible product. And so that is when my dream started. Manfredi's dream started when he sold that other company, because obviously it was a great move, especially because it happened just before COVID. But he always had a little bit of regret of no longer being an entrepreneur of the cruise industry.
Because his family has been in the cruise industry forever, right?
Yes, correct. And that's why we decided to buy it. We had 2 tentatives, as I mentioned, which were unsuccessful when the company was still a going concern. Unfortunately for them, it went bankrupt, and so we had the opportunity and we jumped on it.
No, that's great. Now, I guess my other question is with this is that, you know, the Crystal Cruises brand was so good for so many years, and then with COVID and with the bankruptcy, it got tarnished a bit. Are you concerned that the brand has been too tarnished? Obviously, you're bringing it back to a full force, right?
No, I'm not concerned, because the greatest asset of Crystal, and in general the greatest asset of every cruise line, is the crew, right? And the crew that has made this product great is returning, and we have over 80% of the former Crystal crew which is back.
That's pretty good, huh? Because you have your whole family, and I talk to a lot of them here, and people that I recognize. Your cruise director is a good friend of mine, actually, that I've been on many Crystal. Rick Spath, who is back here, and he really is so excited to be back, along with his team and all the other crew.
And it's overwhelming. When we came on board for the first time, Manfredi and I, in July 2022, they were crying, they were hugging us and thanking us for, and thanking Manfredi obviously in particular, for giving them back their job and their home. They call this a home. So
it absolutely is, and I've heard that again and again throughout. Now, what exactly have you done to completely refurbish these ships? Because I think you mentioned you took it down to the steel to do a lot of this stuff. So you did the suites. First of all, let's talk about the suites.
Yes. So you said it correctly. We took it down to the steel, in particular on the suites, on this restaurant, Uma, and the bistro. So on board the 2 ships, the Crystal Symphony and the Crystal Serenity, 70% and 80% of the suites will either be refurbished during this dry dock or in the dry dock of 2018. So, which is a pretty massive work if you think about it. We have the only real negative that Crystal Symphony and Crystal Serenity had was the hardware, the fact that the suites were small. So we took the decision of converting, taking 2 suites and combining it into 1. So until a couple of months ago, you were coming on board the Serenity, you were going in deck 8, midship, and you could see through the whole ship because there was nothing left, just the steel on the floor.
And that's how you created the larger suites and those decks, right? Correct.
That's what we did. We work with the architect Mortola from Genova to redo all the suites, and with Tilburg Design from Sweden for the public areas.
Now, anything about the hardware? I mean, in terms of the engines, in terms of the power sources that you had to do?
We spent tens of millions to work on the engines, to work on fuel efficiencies. The ships now, this one and the Symphony, which will be redelivered in a month's time, are efficient. We are in compliance with all the, obviously, IMO regulations, but not only, we are also on track to be compliant with the Poseidon principles, which are much, much more strict than the IMO regulations.
No, and indeed, I was wondering about that because these are the original engines were done back in the 90s and early 2000s, and you had to get those up to standards as well, right?
Yes, we have, as I said, we have spent a significant amount of money, not only on the refurbishment in what is visible for the guests, but also what is down from deck 4 down. Yeah.
Yeah, so the thing about, I was going to ask you about, because there was a lot of rumors that you were thinking about acquiring the Crystal Endeavor, yes. And you didn't get it. The other company got it, which I think was a disappointment to you. But I'm not going to ask that anymore because now you got plans for 2 expedition ships. You're going to build your own, right?
Yes. Well, that was obviously a disappointment. It's good that the ship is in great hands. It's an incredible ship, and more than for me and for Manfredi, the disappointment is for the crew that we have on board, because they have built that ship. They have seen it from the steel until choosing all the pieces of furniture. And so for them, it was really disappointing not being able to operate that ship. But
yeah, what are you going to do? But so you'll have the 2 new ones coming out. Hopefully the first expedition ship will be coming out. I think maybe first of the 4 coming up. Now, the other question I had for you is that one of the other parts of Crystal you didn't acquire were the river ships. Was there a reason why you didn't do it? Because I thought there might be some synergies with those river ships and A&K.
We didn't want to do something that is not in our core. We do have river ships, but they are expedition river ships, right? We have the river ships in the Nile. We never operated river ships, so we thought it was not the right time and the right moment, even though we knew that the ships were fantastic.
Yeah, and they're amazing. They're some of the smallest and most luxurious in the fleet. And of course, another company did come around and buy them, and they seem to be successful. We'll see what happens. I mean, they are not a river cruise operation, but yeah, that was one of the things. Because I did want to talk about the synergies, and now you're overseeing both the A&K brand and the Crystal brand. What are the synergies that you see between Crystal and A&K, that, especially for my viewers, travel advisors, and what they can sell?
Well, obviously, we will have the short excursions that will be either curated or provided by Abercrombie & Kent. They cannot all be provided by Abercrombie & Kent because we do not operate everywhere in the world.
We almost do. I mean, you seem to be all over the place.
Yeah, we have the largest network of DMC in the world. We operate in 55 different locations, but not all over the world. But those that will not be provided by Abercrombie & Kent will in any case be curated by Abercrombie & Kent, so supervised by Abercrombie & Kent. And then we have the pre and post programs, of course, that my colleague in the press conference this morning gave you some hints of what we're going to do with the world cruise.
It's pretty amazing in terms of that you can maybe get off the ship for a while, do an A&K trip, get back on the ship. That's going to be very creative, and it's not something I know that exists in the market today.
Yeah, exactly. Think about being in Guayaquil and just being able to jump off the ship for 3 days, go to the Galapagos Islands, experience an amazing trip on board one of our Ecoventura yachts, and then coming back on board in Lima. Or same thing, disembarking in Lima for just a few days, go and see Machu Picchu or the Nazca Lines, and then come back on board.
Sounds like an amazing experience as far as I'm concerned. And unfortunately, Machu Picchu is one of the places I haven't been somehow. I will be hopefully in the next year. Now, is there anything else you want to tell our 120,000 travel advisors out there? You told a lot of the travel advisors here who are aboard, and they're all pretty amazed, and they're very happy to be back. Anything else you want to say to travel advisors about the new Crystal?
Well, I invite them when they will come on board to spend time with the crew, like I said this morning. Our crew is just exceptional. They have so many stories to tell, and they are amazing people, and it's worth just spending 5 minutes with them, shaking their hands, and it just it brings you joy.
Absolutely, and I've seen that myself. Christine, I want to, first of all, congratulations on overseeing this amazing kind of new company, really, between A&K and Crystal, the new Crystal Cruises. We're so happy that Crystal is back and better than ever, and it looks like, Crystal is now in great hands with you, with Manfredi, and we're looking forward to, I know my viewers are looking forward to selling it a lot in the future.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
I'm James Schillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.